Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is the full moon day. It is the 31st day of May. It's 2026 on the ancient moon calendar, 2027 on the ancient sun calendar. It is 5786 on the ancient Hebrew Israelite calendar. It's 10,067 on the ancient Yoruba calendar. It is millions and millions and trillions of years on the ancient Moorish calendar. Our calendar is actually outside of time. Islam. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and in alignment and according to the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress. This is a sovereign living ancient Article 3 Moorish American Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the divine sovereign living justices and Aqquisitionne Pauline Ritchie, sovereign living justice, and my free chosen sovereign appellation is like Tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminutionolo in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capit et corpus juris lex and capit et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the one and only lawful and legal natural living head and body for our empire. All Moors are the divine, original, indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Shemites, Israelites, Cushites, Tartarians, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Moroccan empire. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Earthwide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. We are the law by our sovereign status, which is the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3 Living United States District for Columbia Court, and we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, divine ministers, possessors, grantors, grantors, and title trustors for all causes for action. We and our system are the trustees. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and we are one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign divine ascension. We do possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce, since time immemorial into perpetuity. We, the true living God nation, are peace, peace, peace. We are the mother nation, and we are all eternal, ancient, original sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, Nunc pro Tunc Islam. Happy, 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 happy full moon to all the heirs. This time is yet another exciting time. It marks the full moon at the beginning of May marks the ending of an era, and this full moon marks the beginning of the new era. And the beginning is not just one day, it's been happening over time, just like everything else happens with us. So for that, we are grateful. Hopefully you all are experiencing and enjoying the full moon energy. If you can, get out there when the full moon is out this evening. Take off your shoes and ground yourselves with that full moon energy so that you can further receive downloads from the great spirit within us, Islam. So we have some travel plans. Islam. We have some travel plans. Thank you, Empress, in the inbox. Thank you. We have some travel plans coming up shortly. And so we will to look back and observe and notice some things so that we will know that our travel is 100% what it should be. So I have a question for this grand and great Congress. Speaking of travel, does anyone know why those who were enacting being Muslims traveled to Mecca every year? Do you know the reason why they did that every year, so publicly every year? Does anyone know why?
Islam.
Islam.
Um, is it to keep the contract? Does that have anything to do with contract?
Which contract, Empress? That's really good.
Well, one of the treaties. It has to do with treaty contracts, I'm sure, because we was reading the J Treaty earlier today. Well, the reason why I'm making this statement, if I may, is because when learning about the true story of the Ashkenazis and their enactment and their contract, and the Mormons and how their enactment and their contract, and all the other actors, and how they all do a ritual all the time, every year, to keep their status. So it's a ritualistic contract that they are perpetuating every year to keep the contract active.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Islam.
Yes. Oh, that's just so rich and so full of information, Empress, that we're going to talk about right this moment. So the Muslims traveled to Mecca every year, and listen to this. Those that were pretending to be Jews, those that were enacting Jewishness, they were quietly going back to Israel. You know, State of Israel Corporation over there. The ones that were pretending to be Jews, the fake, the actors acting as Jews, they were going back to Israel every year. So let me tell you why this is so important. So the reason why Jews and Muslims were enacting making Hajj or going to Mecca, that's what they call it, making Hajj, or and for the Jews they called it Aliyah, which means going back to their homeland. For the Jews it was their fatherland, and for the Muslims it was their motherland. This was being done because according to the law, if you claim that you are not a subject or a U.S. citizen, you have to have a motherland that you go back to at will, really. That has to be your claim that you're not a U.S. subject or citizen. And when you make that claim according to federal nationality laws, and you prove that that's what you're doing on a regular basis, going back home, then you can claim all of the status, all of the tax breaks, all of the grants, all of the benefits, all of the blessings, and all of that. You can claim all of that stuff, and you all can have your own courts handle your affairs instead of having to go to an inferior Toys R Us court, a corporate court.
Yeah.
That is why they made a big deal out of everybody dressed a certain way and heading on to Mecca. And everybody dressed a certain way and heading to state of Israel. Because if once they see those travel arrangements on your itinerary, then you can use that to claim that you're not a U.S. corpse. Then you can claim all the big grants and loans and the big, all, you can claim all that stuff and no one can say, and they can't lock you up in a jail. That's why the jails were filled with those who didn't make Hajj every year. But see, we don't call it Hajj. Well, we do call it Hajj. We also call it Aliyah. We call it whatever we will to call it. We just spell it a little differently from those who've been enacting that. What it means is that, now for us, it's different than it is for anyone else. For us, it's very different. We don't have to go way over there on a 13-hour flight. We don't have to do all of that. We stay here. Now, for those who are 13 and 14-hour flights away and things like that, your travel is Aliyah. You're coming back to the homeland, and this is North America. Where you are is still part of the great empire, so you're really not doing foreign travel. You're just going to another part of the empire. That is Aliyah.
Peace and great grand rising to the soul of Congress, Chief Justice Anthony Jadison, ex-Linq territory. In regards to Hajj, Empress, it's also one of the 5 pillars of Islam.
When we say 5 pillars of Islam, we don't mean corporate Islam. We mean Islam as in
Yes.
high self-law and master.
Indeed.
And I'm just clarifying that you know that, nobility, this Congress knows that. But for anyone who hears this, I will that they know that this is not where we get on the carpet and pray 5 times a day and all of that, because who we pray to. We're
Indeed,
God.
Empress.
So,
Indeed.
yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Islam, Empress.
Islam, Empress.
I actually thought about what you said, and I'm sitting here thinking about ancestral land, traveling back to ancestral land and claiming that land. So exactly. So that goes with the lean that I've already done. So gratitude.
But motherland is motherland. And so we just go from one part of the motherland to the other. Jamaica is the motherland. The United Kingdom is still the motherland. France is still the motherland. Africa is still the motherland. We're all connected. Pangea is still Pangea. There just happens to be a river running through it. Rivers, oceans, all of that. Still the land. And that is what we're doing in August. Oh, Empress Shasha, of course you would say that. She says, mother is the land and the land is mother. Islam. Of course. And guess what? No one comes between mother and her heirs. No one comes between mother and her heirs. There's no corporation between us. There is not. No one is between us. So, their travel was a statement that said that Mecca is their permanent home and everywhere else, to include the U.S., was a temporary foreign place to do commerce. The foundational rules to claim certain exemptions and status is that you are not a U.S. citizen, but you had a state where in fact and at law you are originally from. And for us, it is our motherland, our mother's homeland.
Islam.
Islam.
All right now. Okay, so with that being said, that would create, in reality, a void, because they who claim to be the sovereign, by making their Hajjs, aren't sovereign and the original people to the land. They've been the actors. And they've been the one enacting, taking possession, like I said, enacting, taking possession of the heirs' estate. Because if the Ashkenazis and the Muslims make their Hajj and they are making this declaration saying that they're not the U.S. citizens of the United States, then what else is where's the, like, why still act? Like, are you getting what I'm saying? Like I said, there's a void. So they're on paper not being who they're supposed to be. We've been on paper not being who we're supposed to be. Now that we're on paper stating who we are, that forces them to remove themselves on paper, pretending to be someone they was never supposed to be. So we filled the void, because on paper there was always a void, because there was always the actor to begin with. Am I making sense?
So there's really not a void?
But in the enactment, in the past era, there was, because that's why they were pretending to be us.
So then there's no void if they're holding that space. If they're holding space, not being us, but holding the space. That's where that term holding space, holding space came from. And okay, as we continue to be ourselves and be in our rightful place, they don't have to hold space anymore. And I don't know if many of you were able to see in the enactment, when they went and did their Muslim Hajj, the last few years they have met with disaster. And when
yes, I say weather disaster.
Yes, because we're here. We're here. We don't need anyone to act out anything like that. We're here. And so our travel in August is Aliyah, it is Hajj. But again, we're on our homeland already. We're just traveling from one part of the empire to the other. That's the only reason it's called that. But we're going to look at some of that as well. Aliyah. We spell ours Allahiyah. Aliyah is the immigration of Jews from the diaspora to historically the geographical land of Israel or the Palestine region, where the state of Israel was established, traditionally described as the act of going up, ascension, the grand rising, is what they were mimicking. They were mimicking it, because we know that that's not a Jewish that's not a real term, the way they spell it. It says, namely toward the Jewish holy city of Jerusalem, moving to the land of Israel. See, they say the state of Israel was established, but they were moving to the land of Israel, or making Aliyah, is one of the most basic tenets of Zionism. The opposite action, the opposite of that, is immigration, and they spell it Emigratation, by Jews from the land of Israel. So they're moving from the land and going to a corporation, is referred to in the Jewish language as yerida, or descent. And that's why when we open all of our congresses, we state that we are the ascendants, going up, the ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet. And so the most important portion of this that's on the screen that we're looking at right now that I will to emphasize is the law of return that was passed by, and this is the law of return, period. There was an enactment in 1950 of the Israeli parliament passing this law, a law of return, giving all diaspora Jews, as well as their children and grandchildren, the right to relocate to Israel and acquire Israeli citizenship on the basis of connecting to their Jewish identity. Now, we've heard people talk about the African diaspora and things like that, and they say that with great pride when the word diaspora actually means those without a country, those without a homeland. That's what diaspora means when you look up the definition of it. So we never did feel comfortable, nor did we claim to be a part of any diaspora, because we are the land. We are the land. See, even the land wouldn't be the land if we said it was something else. The land is only the land because we're the land. We said, okay, this can be a part of us. So speaking of the citizenship piece and all of that, we know we're not citizens. We never have been and never will be. We're the nationals. Everyone knows that. It is becoming more clarified, even in the on the World Wide Web and the internet. It's becoming more clear that there is a difference between a national and a citizen or subject. And citizens are not really even a citizen. That's not really the appropriate word, because that means that's someone who's a member of a city. We have subjects. That's why the Holy Quran for the Moorish Holy Temple for Science, chapter 29 is titled Magistrate and Subject, not Magistrate and Citizen. Judge or justice and subject. So I pulled up some things on ChatGPT just to see what it was going to say, so that we could clarify ChatGPT about who we are. So I asked ChatGPT, are there any people, and I did use the word people, who are not U.S. citizens, and what's the difference between the nationals and the citizens? And of course, as you know, we don't have anything to do with a U.S. But ChatGPT is also incompetent in that it cannot speak directly to sovereign matters. So it uses the information that's been programmed in to speak as closely as possible to sovereign matters without overstepping the bounds and getting shut down. So it says, for some people born in certain U.S. territories may be U.S. nationals without being U.S. citizens at birth. So you can be a national without being a citizen. All U.S. citizens are U.S. nationals, but not all U.S. nationals are U.S. citizens. So what this is saying is that if you were, and this is actually a truth, if you were claiming to be or born in the U.S., it doesn't matter whether you call yourself a citizen or a national, you're still subject because you were born in a corporation. That's unum sanctum, citizens, and unum sanctum. They're the same thing. There's no difference between the two. So that's one of the things where when you're out on the internet and you're hearing foreigners claim to be U.S. nationals and they're claiming to be nationals of the state and this and that, just keep moving, just keep scrolling, because that's not a thing. They're claiming to be U.S. citizens when they say that. So then went a little more historically, according to, again, ChatGPT, stating that before the 14th Amendment, there were debates about the relationship between state citizenship and national citizenship. And again, this was Moors and subjects going back and forth about status before the 14th Amendment. When the Moors should have known better, we should have known not to go back and forth with subjects about status. It says the amendment was adopted in part to establish national citizenship clearly and to overturn the decision of Dred Scott v. Sanford. The decision of Dred Scott v. Sanford was stare decisis. You can't overturn that. And all it stated was that Dred Scott was going to the wrong court. He was claiming a status in error. He should have been the court and not going to a foreign inferior court to address his issues. And they were trying to overturn that and say, well, Morris, if you're going to be arguing with the subjects about status, we'll just bring you into the subject court, the inferior court, and let that court decide, when that's not even a real court. It's not a real court. The Dred Scott decision was denied. Dred Scott was denied his freedom because he went to a fake court, an inferior court. He was denied his freedom because he appealed to those that he was supposed to be governing over. So then I said, okay, which U.S. nationals are not U.S. citizens? Answer this question only. Do not offer any alternative theories. You have to tell ChatGPT what to do, because it does whatever it wills to do or wants to do if you don't govern it properly. So what it says is under U.S.law, which we're not under U.S.law, the primary group of U.S. nationals who are not U.S. citizens are, listen to this, persons born in American Samoa and Swains Island, which I've never even heard of Swains Island, unless they acquire U.S. citizenship through other means. Anytime you're looking for answers that have to do with us, it's always going to be in the little caveat at the end, unless they acquire U.S. citizenship through other means. That means they're not going to tell you the answer to that, because only the sovereigns know the answer to that. And we're not acquiring U.S. citizenship because it doesn't exist. Those are all subjects. But what it did say is, additionally, and here it is again, one of those caveats, in limited circumstances, because they always throw in those type of phrases, you know, unless they do it through another way, or in limited circumstances, or only in certain areas, or only by certain laws, and they're not going to tell you what it is because the sovereigns know already. It says additionally, Islam nobility.
Yes, and in addition to what you're stating, Donald Trump has already confirmed that.
Of course.
Yes.
He can't really assign any status to the nationals. He can't do any of that. He didn't, he didn't even have standing to go and say something about anything in the quote-unquote actors that were acting as Supreme Court. They said you don't have standing to talk about citizenship.
Exactly.
And nationality.
That's why he had no other choice or no authority or nothing else but to confirm it.
And he cannot speak as a sovereign because he's not sovereign. So he just has to sit down and be quiet about that.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So.
It says, additionally, in limited circumstances, a person born abroad to non-citizen U.S. national parents, not persons, but parents, may acquire non-citizen U.S. national status by federal nationality laws. And out of all of the questions that I asked ChatGPT, because it's a court action. Nationality was only mentioned one time, and that was in this vague term. And we know it's not vague to us because we are the ones who make the nationality laws. Only the nationals can do that. So we're not persons, but we create persons. So we, the non-citizens, and we are United States for America nationals, acquire non-citizen United States for America national status by nationality. In other words, the things that we've been doing financially in that United States special purpose financial vehicle, we have the authority to do that by way of federal nationality laws. That means you can't be thrown into a jail cell when everything is done the way it's supposed to be done by the nationals. That's according to federal nationality laws, because that's outside of jurisdictional authority for subjects and corporations. And those are the principal categories of nationals who are not U.S. citizens. Why are we talking about this as well as travel, as well as aliyah, as well as Hajj? Why are we talking about these things today? Because they're all related. Every one of them. One is dependent upon us knowing the other. In order to relocate means to locate again. In order to allocate for proper travel, in order to allocate for anything else. Judicially, nationality is the first step by court action. And then the ancestors showed us something this weekend, and we've seen this before, we brought it up before, but the ancestors are just clarifying it. Administratively, we relocated by way of an 8822 affidavit. Let's take a look at that. This is what an 8822 form looks like. And look what it's for. It's a change of address for individual, gift, or estate, or generation skipping transfer tax return. Does anyone know what the benefits of generation skipping transfer taxes is? Generation skipping transfer tax.
It deals with ancestral land and the estate.
Yes, Empress Nabi, and there was another nobility.
Yes, Islam Empress. Karamuji Bay, Tennessee Territory. I just know the athletes are using that to move the state past them to keep from all the grabbing of their assets.
Oh wow! Yes, they are doing name, image, and likeness movements, so that they get to keep all of their assets and things, and the ownership of their names, images, and likenesses. I heard about that. Justice Harold, it's a very remarkable move, but they have to declare nationality too. So nationality, or whatever their status is, they must properly declare. Anyone else? Generation skipping transfer tax return. This is one of the most beautiful processes. It's a one-page process.
Does this have something to do with estate tax?
There's an echo in Prashasha, but I did hear what you stated. It does have something to do with taxes on the estate. Yes, it does. So let me. Islam.
This is Lisa Morale in Louisiana Republic, and I think it has something to do with, there's a shorter form in terms of taxes. I think it's related to that form. I forgot what it's called. Something like a W-2 or something, but it says generational skipping something in itself. So that's what I think. Islam.
So generation skipping transfer tax return means that all of the taxes that have been made since our ancestors went into the status of, in the enactment of United States nationals, all of the taxes that were collected by the United States at commerce is to be returned to the generation that comes back onto the land. That's what generation skipping is about. It's saying that no generation is going to get a return on that giant treasure trove of credits or taxes. They're not going to have that return back to them until they return back to the land. That's what generation skipping is. And then those who return back to the land, to the status, proper status, and have created a repository for those goods, for that wealth, can accept the wealth. And that's how the payment is made. That's how the return is returned. Because the return is first us returning to the land, then it is the return of the wealth.
Islam. So my question now, because I'm working on demonstration currently, and it has everything to do with this. So with that stated, how would, now with this newfound knowledge from another perspective and degree, how would it be stated to effectuate what is being presented today?
Can you give us the chance to get to the restated form, Jeffrey?
Pardon me.
We're getting there. We want to make sure that this information is being absorbed because it's so huge.
All right, now I've already downloaded it and processed, and I'm seeing the application. That's why I'm going that question.
We're already there. So, a change of address and a generation, and this is about gifts and estates and generation skipping tax, transfer tax return. Now, to transfer, that means that it's going to, because see, they kept talking about a wealth transfer, right? How many of you heard them saying, ooh, there's a great wealth transfer that's coming?
I just heard it yesterday as before Congress started. Yep.
Islam. No, just pointing out, yes, I heard it. I've been in tune with it for some time. Yeah.
Of course you have, because it's for you.
That's right.
So, we've done all, now listen to me more, because this is important. We've done all the paperwork. We've done the judicial part to get the return of our estate. We've done that, the 40-something documents, we've done it. That was the judicial part. The ministerial part We've done that. Liens, levies, bonds. We've done that. That's how you minister the estate. You say, we're the creditors, you're the debtors, we're the master, you're the servant or the subject. We're the ones who are going to be ministering the estate. So we've created a repository and a mechanism by which the estate is transferred. Because in order to transfer an estate, whoever it is you're giving it to has to have the capability to accept it. And you can't accept it if you haven't built a mechanism to receive it. But you can accept it if you have done the ministerial work of saying, okay, we've created our own courts, we've created our own banks, we've created our own government, we've created our own law. Now we can accept the estate. And anything that's out there, we know how to create it. There's nothing you can throw at us that we don't know how to create. There's no wealth that can come that won't have a place to go, is what I'm saying. So now, after all of that, we're going to do something operational, because this is an operational thing right here. It's operational, and it is, what's that other word? There's another word for operational as well. This is something that you can do that will make it so that it manifests in this dimension where we can touch it, we can pick it up, we can move it, we can do things with it, we can see it, we can hold it, we can read it, we can look at it, we can change it, we can do all of that. That's what operational is. Operational is hands-on. That's what operational is. So now what we've done is we just looked at this change of address form to see what is this for and what is it supposed to do. Well, as we looked at it, we saw that it says here, your old address, the number, the street, city, state, zip code, if a P.O. box, if foreign address, complete the spaces below, la, 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 la. Foreign country name, foreign province, or county. A county and a province are the same, Morse. Foreign province or county. Foreign postal code. Well, we don't use postal codes. We use post office codes. And then they say, what's the new address? And where are you? Where are you is really the point. And this is an internal revenue. This is a treasury form, quote unquote, right? Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service. But I noticed something here. It says here, decedent's name and decedent's social security number. And I'm thinking, they keep talking about dead people. Why do they keep doing that? Well, we know that we don't die. Can anyone just give an intelligent guess on what word we would use instead of decedent? What word would you use? Let's put it that way, because there's no wrong answer.
Ancestral.
You could use that word, yes. Any others?
Matriarchal.
You could use that.
Offended.
Ascended, you could use that.
Is proprietor appropriate?
Proprietary is, I would not use that word, Empress. Not, you may have a reason for using it. I would not use that word because we're pointing to a people. We're pointing to a people. Decedent is a dead person. It's a dead person.
Islam. Grantor.
That could be, that could be used there. That could be used there.
Settlor.
That could be used there.
Oh, then founder.
That could be used there.
Executive?
That could be used there as well.
Proprietor actually means owner. So I was thinking owner.
That could be used there.
Yeah.
That could be used there.
Islam.
Islam.
So you really, I mean, what's happening here, you're putting the living, replacing the decedent with the living.
Yes. 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 That is absolutely what's happening here. Absolutely, yes.
All of this and the form as it stands, as we all know, in the enactment, everything is dead. Corpses, corporations, all of those things, non-living.
Look at the word on the screen. This one right here.
Prior in point of time. You know, it's very interesting because I was doing some word wondering myself today on time. Just time, the word time and what time is, and in the beginning, in fact, the phrase in the beginning. Now, in the beginning, it's specific to a particular time.
Yes.
And so this, even the term antecedent, it's particular and specific to a point in time. And you just brought that up with just, so, and this is the thing about the word and jurisdiction and living and dead, because the word is always specific to a point in time. And whose word is it?
Yes.
And whose definition is it? And so this is so powerful and so tying into where I was wandering in thought today.
Yes.
And
oh, go ahead, Amber.
Seed. Remember Seed and Company, where the birth certificate, seed is seed, but it's also seed. You know, it goes away from, to begin, before, and so they're just there's so much going on. I'm going to yield because I'm my as you state many times, my turban is expanding. I yield.
Yes, well, when you talk about Seed and Company, there's the word right there in decedent.
That's why it came to me in antecedent into decedent. It's right there in the center as the seed from which everything comes out of. But whose seed is it?
Yes.
That is. It is always, everything comes back to identified, identity, whether it be time, place, person, status. The seed is the core. It's in the core. The seed is in the core, the heart of the matter.
Yes. Yes.
Is on yield.
And seed is actually the root word, or cess is actually the root word. Cess means to stop, like cessation.
Right.
So when we talk about antecedents and antecessors, an antecessor is an ancestor. Right here on the screen. Right after antecedent. It just says ante means before.
Before, exactly, or away from, or
away from. Yeah.
That's wow. I mean,
or it means not.
Or not.
just like antibiotic, it's against life. It's
yeah.
So before the stopping, antecessor.
So we're looking at this word, and why is this so important? This prior in point of time, antecedent, means that we had a homeland before any debt was created. We had the homeland. So what did we do as an operational action? Because see, again, the judicial action is already done. We did that already. Nationality, we said we're not U.S. citizens. That's not a thing for us. Now we're going to relocate by 8822 affidavit. This is both administrative and operational. And this really should be, here, along with always autographing properly. This should be liens, levies, and bonds. So we restated this 8822. We changed it and made it an address, and we spell address the way we will to spell it because it means what we say it means. And we made it an 8822 affidavit, United States Treasury Internal Revenue System. That's where this is issued from. This is for gift, estate, and generation skipping transfer tax returns. Prepaid taxes donated by generation skipping taxes are being returned by inheritance to the living donor by this affidavit. Our ancestors fronted some finance to the United States so that those that came here in form of paupers could do some things and make some movements without breaching the boundaries of their status. So we're just getting all of that back. That has to come back to us. That's what we're saying is the generations that were skipped because they were asleep, that comes back to the awakened generation. Because you don't get anything when you're asleep, but some capitalism all on top of your head. That's what you get when you're asleep. And some craziness. Yeah, you get a bowl of porridge, but you don't get the estate when you're asleep. And then those of us who have awakened, we're saying, okay, we're the generation that doesn't get skipped. Taxes must be returned to us.
Islam Empress.
Islam Empress.
I have a question. The Turner case that they were referring to, is that the same case with Empress Bertiassi for the Debte Moors?
Yes.
Islam. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of them. We all have them. We all have a cause there. But we have to do it. We have to govern everything that has to do with it. We can't keep going, we can't go to them and ask the subjects for some relief and some remedy because they don't have it. And that's the only difference between, that time, the time of Empress Bertiassi and the Turner case, and now is that we're providing our own remedy because they don't, the subjects don't have anything to give us. So we made some changes to the form. Just a moment. Right here it says previous address. If you'll notice, I put the address in the way that it was, it looks just like the way that the corporations were stating that the address was supposed to look, except, of course, this is a court action. So 18 United States Code 1001B applies here. So we're not talking about anything done by corpses now. We're talking about the fact that this is a court action, and we're changing our address from this, on the record publicly, from this, we're changing it out from under a corporation, and which it never really was, but for the sake of stating that we know who we are, we're stating that we're not under this, we're not under King County Incorporated, and we don't have a foreign zip code. Okay? And then it says here, just a moment, permanent homeland location. Just a moment. Let me put that right back here. Permanent homeland location is like that. This is how we put our permanent homeland location. Is everything spelled out the way that we normally do with the post office code? And we Empress. Islam nobility.
Is palace supposed to be the place or palace?
It's supposed to be palace.
Islam.
Because that's where we stay. That's our permanent home location. And then here, continent is North America. The county is King, and the post office code 98023. Now, this is not going to go up on YouTube because they'll just take it down saying that it has some personally identifiable information on it. That's why they took down the previous video, and we're not even worried about that because those who want to hear it are here. And then this says, remove some of this stuff that's not supposed to be here. There's no telephone number. And part 3, autograph. And this is where I would autograph here and remove this stuff would not be here. And then we stamp and seal it the way we would stamp and seal any of the other things that we do. Okay? Antecedents and social security number. Now, empresses and emperors, listen to me, please. The ancestors gave us some information that showed something very, very, very key and important. So let me ask you a question before I introduce that information. When did the Social Security Department, the Social Security Administration, when did that begin in their enactment? Does anyone know?
Was that 1933?
Islam, I think it was 1945, somewhere in that time frame, because it was after the bankruptcy, and it was right around the Social Security Act as well.
Okay. So 1935, August 14th, 1935 is what it says here. So you all were definitely in the ballpark. Everybody who gave the, we know that it was sometime after they began printing Federal Reserve debt notes in 1933. We knew it was sometime around there or after that time period, 1935. So then let me ask you this, Morris. Was anyone issued a Social Security number prior to that time period?
Resounding no.
Islam, well, not out front or out loud, but if you put the Social Security numbers into a certain system, you will see dates before you were even born. That's what I've seen anyway. Going into and I don't quote me, but Treasury Direct somewhere in that sort of system, there's actually records for dates attached to those numbers prior to even when I was born. So so were they issued? I mean, if we break down issued, no, we weren't issued, but were they recorded or placed on paper in some system? Maybe. Islam, are you?
So, thank you, Empresses. So the answer to the question of was anyone issued a Social Security number before 1933? The answer is it wasn't called a Social Security number, but there were numbers issued before then, and the proof is everywhere actually, but on the screen. For example, let's just take John Lassett here. Was born the 25th of May, 1881 in Fort Deposit, Alabama, son of Richard Lassett and Rachel Jones. He was assigned a Social Security number, and they tell you what the number is, and it's in the Numismatic Public File of Deceased Persons. Has anyone ever heard of the Numismatic Public File of Deceased Persons or the Death Master File?
No, but can I get the link in the chat, please, for this, what you're looking at? Please?
Sure. And you will, each and every one of you, no matter where you are, you will find some information about relatives in this. You will. Islam nobility.
I was thinking that being that the QV Trust goes way back, even back after the Civil War, and they was able to transfer their slave status to the 14th Amendment and all that. It's all connected. It seems like it's all connected. Like it all goes back to when they took their slaves and turned them into corporations. So it seemed like it would be connected, all something going way back to like 1865 or so.
Well, do you know when the QV Trust was said to be originated? Do you know the year?
Well, the QV Trust, I wouldn't know the exact year, but the history would be somehow connected to the Una Sanctum and the 14th Amendment after they was trying to find ways to make profit off the slaves and put them give them a status where they can where it became part of Congress. Congress took over they transferred everything to Congress, and they didn't want to free the slaves. They wanted to profit off them, so they turned them into corporations, and it became the QV Trust. Because most people have not heard of the CESAQB, did no much research on it, so it's not publicly known, the CESAQB. But it goes back, I would think, somewhere back then. It's been around that long, you know.
The year Justice Captoon is 1666.
You say 1566?
1666.
Wow, I didn't know it go back that far, but I can believe it.
It actually goes back further than that, but it was enacted as manifested here in 1666.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that history, the CESAQB, but everyone denies there's such a thing as a CESAQB trust, you know. And no one's heard of it. No one can even speak on it, you know. Too much people, when you bring that conversation up, and no one's aware of it.
Well, the actors are going to lie and say they don't know anything about it when they are actually, they quote unquote capitalized it.
Right. That has something to do with the Pope.
It was a paper bull. It was a paper
bull. Yeah.
It was issued by the Pope, quote unquote Pope.
It started in England somewhere when the Black Plague, when all the people there was plagued, and the king or someone said that they was all labeled as dead at sea, and they had to come back, and if they didn't speak, they was their prophets or whatever they was, it was all nothing but profit, and it was all considered dead. The people weren't always dead because of the Black Plague. And they wind up coming here. Yeah. I did read that. 1650 something. Yeah.
So the Black Plague is nothing more than people being made corpses. People being made persons and then dead persons. So there were, in fact, I'm showing you some of my clan's records because John Lassick was my uncle, great uncle rather, in Alabama, Fort Deposit, which is where my matriarch is. She was born here, and this is her great uncle. Was assigned a social security number, and is the numident in the numident public file of deceased persons. Now listen to me, Morris, as you go through these records and you look at these records, make sure that you make a record of your antecedent's social security number. See that?
Islam, so are you saying that we are to go and research an antecedent number and then put it on this document?
You can, if you will, to do that. The reason that we chose to go way back to our great-great-great-great-grandmother is because we saw a number for her. We saw a social security number for her, and she was born in the early 1800s, long before 1934, and she had a number.
Islam.
And we have that number. Islam,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
My father, he was born in 42. And going through his paperwork, because he's now transitioned, going through his paperwork, I found a gold Social Security. It's a gold, I guess I want to call it a card. But it's not plastic. And I'm not sure if anyone else has uncovered going through their loved ones' records, if they had one. And it says Social Security, but also says account number.
Yeah.
So
we've seen those where the seal was gold on it.
Mm-hmm.
We thought, is it the seal that's gold on the card?
think so. Because it had like a little part in the middle where it's open. And I was like, wow. When I uncovered it, I was like, this doesn't look like what we had. But I know a little while ago we were talking about, we were discussing the Social Security. Social Security, you know, it was supposed to be an account, and that's how but I was like, this is something totally different. I don't have one for my mom, but my dad definitely had this.
Islam.
So, Islam nobility.
Islam. This is Tona Salajabe in Khalifa territory. Wanted to bring up that thing she's talking about. I remember being like, I think 7 or 8, and my grandfather bought me one of those. You could buy these replications of your Social Security card, and they came in gold or silver, and it was kind of made of a metal, some kind of metal. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, that's it. It's metal. It's metal. It's not plastic.
Yeah, that's not a real Social Security card. It was something that you could buy. They offered them for a little while. I think the post office did it for a little while. Like I said, when I was young, my grandfather took me to the bank. I got a bank book, and then I was introduced to the Social Security thing, but he told me it wasn't mine. So I knew from a little age that, I mean, I didn't know how badly it was screwed up, but I knew from a small age that wasn't me. So anyway, just wanted to throw that in.
So,
okay, thank you.
If I may add a little bit to that, Empress, there's duality in everything that we see. Whenever something was issued that was gold or silver and they said it was memorabilia, it was always about us, and it is absolutely real. It's just that the commoners can't use it. We can use it. No, I'm not debating, or I'm not invalidating what you stated, nobility. I'm just adding some more light on what she said about the gold thing of it. But yeah, go ahead, nobility.
Okay. All I was pointing out was that that card, you could not use it where you could use a regular Social Security card. They wouldn't take them. I know because I got one that I was going to, and they go, that's not real, that's a replica, that's a memorabilia, like you said. So, but I had one of those too. So anyway, thank you.
So what they were doing with those is saying when the Moors wake up, they'll know how to make their stuff look. And then they will accept it among each other and see, at the highest echelons, those are accepted. Just like a gold memorabilia coin is worth more than even the face value or what any commoner would pay for it. Memorabilia coins are to remember. That's why it's called memorabilia. It's so that we will know how our stuff looks, because our coins and stuff look like that. Our cards and things were made of metal. Our money was metal. Just a moment, please. Our money was metal. And so whenever you see anything like that and they call it memorabilia, that's for us to remember and know that, yes, we can use and accept that among each other, and it will be a higher value than its face value. And yes, it is an account when it's presented that way. Yes, it's an account. My grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, I have her security number. And again, 1800s for her, and she had a security number. Well, that's an antecedent number. That is the number where the generation skipping was about to begin, but it had not started yet because she was still in her proper status. My great-grandmother was still in her proper status. And then her children is where it began. With my grandmother, that's where slowly but surely things began to switch over to the corporate. Because my grandmother, when she bought her house, she paid cash for it, and then they capitalized it and recreated everything and pretended to start taxing it in 1940, 50, 65, somewhere around there. The house is still in our plan. It's still we still own that. You know, so all we have to do, Morris, is look at all the pieces that we have together. Ember Shasha put in the chat, so the issue of the Social Security number was preparation for the Great Sleep Time. Yes, the Numadent records is what the Social Security, quote unquote, the Social Security Administration, they say it's the other way around, but it's not. The Numadent records were first. Numadent just means the number of identity. That's what Numadent means, numbered identity. Numbered identity. Or numbered identifiers. It's an accounting system. It's not trying to give people a number and have the people and the number be the same. So whatever you do with that number, the people have to act it out. That's not what that means. It means, Numadent means this is a number that people can use to convey wealth and benefits and things back and forth. So I have my great-grandmother had a Numadent number. And let me just say this, through a Freedom for Information affidavit, you can write to the subjects in the Office of Social Security Ministry and tell them to give you all of the information in the Numadent files, in the Numadent records for your loved one who has transitioned. The Numadent files have more information than a Social Security file has in it. And the Social Security files look only through management, only through the upper, through the top, because you're not going to go to no gatekeeper and they're not going to know, they don't even know what the word Numadent means. But when you go to the top, to the subjects in the office of CEO, Chief, or Director of Social Security, the ones we put there, and we put them there by writing to them and saying, give me this information and that information. If you write there, then you can go back to the generation where the generation skipping started. All you have to do is anyone who was born before 1934, before August 14th. Here, let's go back to that. Before August 14th, 1935. Anyone born before then, they could have been issued a Social Security number, but it didn't even apply to them. Because at that time they were saying, because you precede the Social Security Administration, because you precede that, then you're getting a Numadent file instead of a Social Security file. And the Numadent files, Empresses, the Numadent files do not list our mothers and matriarchs by a married name. It only lists them by the maiden names, and then they may add some married names to it, but the maiden name is first. That's important where bloodline and birthright is concerned.
So what you're saying is the Numadent record contains our ancestral record and our record keeping standard and style, because when the union took place back in those days, the noble took the matriarch's name for the records to be kept proper.
What I'm stating is that the Numadent records, first, now the Numadent records are not without corruption because they capitalize every name they put in it, as you can see. When you look at these records, see how they did the capitalization? because they can't do it the way we do it. So the Numinate files tell you who father and mother are, but mother has her maiden name there, whether they did a ritual or not. Those names are still there, all the way back. And this is my uncle, actually. He was born 25th of May, 1881. My great-uncle, rather, great-great-uncle. And he is in the Numinate public file of deceased person. Now, that means that I have an estate where Rachel Jones is concerned, as well as Richard Lassick and John Lassick. Okay. So now I can add Jones to my appellation, and then I can just go right on up and down this list here and see others and see, you know, who else is here. I can add Finney to my appellation because I have an estate there. This is my grandmother's mother, and this is my grandmother's father. And these are all, I've been to their grave sites and all of that. And we have all their information. Everything is here. My whole clan, and all of the connected estates. All of the connected estates. And again, many of them were born in the 1800s and so on and so forth, long before there was a quote-unquote Social Security Administration. Here, Eva Lassick was born the 2nd of August, 1916. Well, this was long before 1934, and was assigned a Social Security number. And then I noticed that they say some were assigned Social Security numbers and some received Social Security numbers. So that tells me who applied for it and who just got it by way of contract. They didn't apply for it, they just signed contracts, and so there was a number assigned to them based on those contracts. So use these records, because where generation skipping is concerned, and listen, if you were adopted, or you don't know who your parents were, or you don't like your mother or whatever, you still have a right to your estate. Okay, you still have a right to it. So now for the matriarch. This 8822 is publicly, we are publicly placing ourselves and our property and our assets and our estates on the land in terms of notifying them. Now, again, we were never a part of the corporation. What we're really saying is, this is a statement. This is where we are. We're not here, we're here. That's what we're doing with this. Okay, and then this is recorded by our court, and then we notify all of the actors, or the subjects in the office of, rather, the subjects in the office of internal revenue, the subjects in the office of treasury, the subjects in the office of whatever. That means that you've gone back onto the land, and there's no more generation skipping here. That your estate actually comes to you. But you have to have created a way for that to come to you. That way, your paperwork speaks for you. You don't have to pull out a wad of notes. You send the paperwork and it speaks for you. and your word will not return unto you void.
Gratitude.
Islamic.
Gratitude. This is a wonderful bit. And it is legacy, estate, trust, all the beautiful energies there. And it's also all points in time. So one of the ways I see this is it's more as the land, but in all space and all time as well. Like it's doing many dimensional pieces at once in this one. Gratitude.
Yeah, Islam members. I think that it speaks great to place an antecedent here and their social security number, and we spelled it this way because it means what we state that it means. But did you know that even in ancient Rome, Moors, they had 9-digit numbers to convey wealth back and forth? In ancient Rome, they had them.
So the question comes up: is this what our ancestors left for us? Are we like connecting the two systems? If you get what I mean, like what we've created and what was in place. Is this what's happening now?
Yes. And this, along with a green return receipt, can be given to can be used during any exchange to state where the exchange is taking place. So if you're doing let's say an automobile exchange, this document, a copy of this, and proof that it's already been sent will state where the exchange is happening. That's going to determine how the exchange is financed.
Islam.
So is this what this makes me think of is in the enactment where they would require a bill, a utility bill or something with proof, which proves proof of address. So so this is what this is, but legitimate, lawful, and sovereign, and everything else.
Yeah. So even if the quote unquote utility bill is provided and you provide this also, that's going to straighten everything out for them. We're already straight. We already know. We're just notifying them that.
Right. I mean, I don't even see that a utility. Anybody asking me for a utility bill now would not even be. That's.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
I mean, this is very valuable, especially when you're talking about internal revenue systems.
Right.
Because what do they ask for when persons would go get loans and things like that, or if they wanted to verify income, quote unquote, they would ask for
mating,
all of that. They would ask for proof of where you live,
of address. Yeah.
Proof of address. They would ask for proof of citizenship status even. You have to be a U.S. citizen to qualify. That's what they would say.
Islam.
And this Islam.
Didn't mean to block your thought, but when you just said as far as the automobile, it bring into my mind going back as we look back in records for land.
Yes.
This is that's the first thing that popped into my mind is land.
Yes.
A couple of years ago we were doing the land management, looking through the records, who's where, what, when, how. Land is very important. Islam.
Yes. Yes. And I would put a matriarch's antecedent information here. A matriarch, because remember what we said about Aliyah up here earlier and our travel and everything is that we're going back to the motherland, right? Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, Islam.
Yes, we
Islam.
do.
We're saying we're going back to the motherland. So we wanna keep that the standard high in terms of having things match.
Islam, Empress.
Islam.
On both the matriarch and the patriarchal side. Is that correct?
What is the full question?
Well, as far as putting the information on the document, using the matriarch from both sides, if we're going to get both. My great-great-grandmother's her surname is Whitbay, so Whitby Island from that area.
Mm-hmm.
So my thoughts were in the direction of the actual place where she was breast and being able to go back and get that because that's his side of the family.
Yes. Yeah.
Islam.
Wherever there's a patriarch, there's a matriarch there too. Wherever there's a patriarch, there has to be a matriarch somewhere in sight.
Islam.
Islam.
These records are for the United States, or do they extend beyond? So does that mean there's another system somewhere else for other territories, or I just want to get straight on that. And do you have a link for what we were looking at, what you were sharing? That's the question. I mean, I know that I'm at North America. However, the system might be different because even the way the Social Security numbers are presented. So that's my question. What might be looking?
Let me just ask. Let me just do a little digging about that. Islam, Empress.
And maybe the question also is, where are the records kept? So it could be the same system, but like in different territories, they may keep the records in places. So that was the question. Are they all centralized, or are they, in different spaces based on the territory?
So every other place, every other territory modeled their systems after the ones here in North America. So wherever Empress, there was an issuing of numbers to number that worked like a Social Security number, behind that system is a Numidian system. They may not call it a Numidian system, but there's a system there.
A historical numerical system exists somewhere.
Yes, and if you use those terms like what you just said, you said a historical numerical system. If you use those types of terms, the real term is going to come up.
Yes. Yes. Now, I did a quick little search. One thing I see here for this territory, the Islands Records Law of 1879 created the Island Record Office.
And it's probably not just that.
No. And it goes on. Look at the law replaced the older colonial office of the Island Secretary, which had been tracking the people, land, and legal life of Jamaica since 1660, which now look at that year. 1666 was the Setu KV. And it tracked, just like the Numidian tracks an individual's life cycle through government forms, the IRO tracked the people of Jamaica through enroll the deeds, wills, inventories, and powers of attorney. It could go on, but I won't. I will. The civil equivalent, the copy registers, 1825 to 1871. So, okay, I've located where I might find the similar equivalent information.
Yes.
Started in 1825.
So then you have a relative or an antecedent that you could put. You have a way to find an antecedent that you can put on, so that the generation is not skipped anymore.
Yes.
You have a way to find it. You have at least a starting place to research that information.
And
and Empress, it's online. You don't have to do too much. It's online, just like these records made themselves manifest.
Well, we shall see. But yes, I'm going to be digging in there. Isn't this Wales Western Sephardic Diaspora Roadmap, Jamaica Jews? Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that is interesting, because Sephardic really is that's an Islamic word.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting, because there had been, in the most recent annums, the push here. Now, the face was always the pale face. I know better. I grew up with my mother telling us always, without telling us anything else, that she was a Jew. And we know that it's not Jew anyway.
It's really not.
But no, it's not. It's evil, and it's really an action. It's not an identity. There's so much, but I won't dig into that. But so this really, it's right here. It's right here. I will be digging into that. I have their names. I do have names of great-grands on a couple back, so I yield.
I found out so much information about my clan and their nobility by going through these types of records that it's just amazing. It's amazing that before the corporate systems were even here, my clan was doing things, and things were being named after them. My mother had land named after her that the corporates said, we're going to name this land after your mom. So there was a coming together of the system, but still, I know that everything is coming together even at this point. Now, we have given this information. We have one other large, major action to do today. But before Islam Empress.
Can you just clarify something for me now? It just popped into my head. So, recognizing that we will find information and we'll find an antecedent name and number, we just pick one, put all. How does that work? They can all go on one form, or this is that's just coming to my mind now.
So as I was doing my research on this address change and things of that nature and generation skipping, I came across a 709 form where you can put all the names, because it says United States gift and generation skipping transfer tax return. It's a 709 form. So let's just take a look at that one really quickly, since you asked the question. where you can list everyone.
And then another question. So this particular form, would one's current Social Security go on there also, or it's really just for the antecedents? Because how does everything then tie together?
So on the 88, on this 8822, the antecedents name and Social Security number go here, and then it says on 3A your name and Social Security number.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah. So as you go through the documents, your questions will be answered by what you see and what you restate.
Correct.
Yeah. Because that's what we did here. We just changed it and put the right stuff on here.
And did you provide a link for that already, or did you provide a link to the
again?
Oh, okay.
Which one?
All of everything that I've been taking screenshots, but I'd love to see the black version too.
Okay. So the link to the 8822 form is here, and again, this form must be restated. And this is why the 40 documents is so important, is when you're restating things like this, no one can argue with you about the antecedent. No one can argue with you about what you put on it. No one can say it's fraud. They can only say it's fraud if it's their form and you're using their form to try and do sovereign things when they know they're not sovereign. So, and then Imbrashasha, you were asking for links. The link to, what else?
The 709 you had mentioned.
The 709 form. Oh, and the website with all the names and information. Do you have that one, Empress?
No, I don't. Thank you. I'll take that too, please. Thank
okay.
You.
And all you do is go to the home page and put in a first and last name, and it will start bringing up everybody everywhere from all parts, and you just look through each record.
So you can start with a living one and then find the ones who've transitioned?
You can.
No? Okay.
You can.
All right.
Because it will tell you that they had a son or a daughter with that name.
And many came from the mainland to the island. So it's still interconnected.
Yes. That's why I stated what I stated, that no matter where you are, you can find people here.
Yes.
You know, and that can be your antecedent claim, if you will, for it to be.
Absolutely. Islam, yes.
Just like my father's mother's maiden name is Bruce. Her were senators. But see, Moors were the Senate before, and then the House of Representatives, those who represented persons was the House of Representatives, and the House of Representatives would ask the Senate for the money, and that's still the case today. The House of Representatives puts together things, and then they say, okay, let's send this over to the Senate and see if they'll give us the money for this. And Henry Clay Bruce and the Bruce brothers were those are my great uncles. And they were feeding the slave narrative in order to get into the Senate. It's just a whole, that's the stuff for another day. But anyhow, she was that was her. She was the niece of the Clay, the Bruces. My grandmother Ethel Bruce, and we knew that, but we got affirmation, even more affirmation. My great uncle Henry Clay Bruce and Blanche Kelso Bruce Blanche Kelso Bruce has his portrait up at the White House, quote unquote, in the hallway of the White House. So, those are other things that we found in, not just in our research, because we had known it from family discussions and things of that nature. So, a capstone action, Islam Empress.
The 709, did you put that one in the link, or you put...
I'm very proud to make this presentment. It's a brief presentment, but it is one of the most powerful presentments that we have done. We will to give more honor and more praise and more of what is due to the matriarch. We will to issue more of that today. What do we mean by that? We mean that the matriarch, and this is not and I know I don't have to say these things to the patriarchs, but I will make the statement anyway. This does not in any way diminish the nobility and the sovereignty of the patriarchs, of our emperors and nobles. We must give honor where it is due. We are introducing today a new title for nobility for the matriarch. We know that we are Bey, Day, El, Ali, Al. We know that we are those. Those are titles for nobility. We will to introduce a title of nobility that is in a different category than El, Ali, Day, Bey, and Al. This title for nobility for the matriarch is one that was prophesied many, many centuries ago, that the matriarch would return. And so for this Congress and for the grand body, the title that we will to introduce and to make a statement that the matriarch is owed this title, and she is now receiving this title. We are excited to do that. The ancestors gave us permission, and we're going to go with this. In honor of the new matriarchal Aquarian era, where we know all, we hereby return to the ancient original matriarchal title for nobility. From ancient times, we were called this. That title is the Mahdi. So if I were to refer to any of the matriarchs, let's say matriarch Sabra L, I could call her matriarch. I could call her Mahdi Sabra L. The whole earth and the whole world has been saying the Mahdi is returning. The Mahdi is coming back. And when the Mahdi comes back, all will be free. And so we hereby state, we're just stating the obvious, that the matriarchs, we will refer to each other at our will, as Mahdi angel, or Mahdi Cynthia, etc., meaning the Lord over all, the returning Savior, Islam. We are the original ancient indigenous matriarchs. Our return is now. And we could look up the term, and this is what I love to do, is just look up this term. And the Mahdi is a messianic figure, messianic meaning the Messiah, whose name translates to rightly guided one. According to Islamic eschatology, she is a prophesied leader expected to appear at the end of times to defeat injustice, restore religious purity, and establish a global reign of peace and righteousness. And you can do your research on the Mahdi. And it says here, prophesied to appear before the end of the world to help unify the Muslim community, fight tyranny, and rule alongside the returned Jesus Christ. And Yeshua is, we are Yeshua also, and Yeshua does include our amazing sons. So all in favor of this ancient new title for nobility for the matriarchs, the great Mahdi, please make your vote known. Islam.
Islam. Well, befitting the Mahdi, Chief Justice Angelica Yvette Dobbs Day, Satcheby Territory, New York, I affirm the title Mahdi.
Islam Mahdi Angel.
Islam.
Islam Mahdi Shasha and Mahdi Mahdi Nabi.
Islam.
Islam.
Chief Justice Shasha and Bay, I affirm.
Yes.
Jamaica Territory, let me put that in there also. I affirm.
Islam Mahdi Shasha.
Islam Mahdi Lan.
Islam, I affirm. Al-Mahdi, Goddess, Nabi, Chandra Bay, Mahat El, Tihas Territory.
Islam, thank you, Mahdi Nabi. Mahdi Liniel, we see you in the chat, Islam. And Mahdi Misra Karima Bay, we see you in the chat as well, Islam.
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 Arabi, Canaan Territory, I affirm.
Islam Mahdi Tara.
Grand Rising, Mahdi Cynthia Ann Bay, I affirm. Islam.
Yes, Islam, Empress and Mahdi Cynthia. Mahdi Rose Tao, we see you in the chat. Noble and Emperor Travis, we see you in the chat as well. Islam. Emperor Harold, we see you in the chat as well. Islam.
I affirm. I, Anadol Mahatmabade, Mahdi, Canaan Territory, living and resting.
Islam, thank you, Mahdi Anajel. Any others? And I, Mahdi Light Tajiri Bay, affirm as well.
Islam Empress.
Islam Nobility.
I'd like to affirm.
Islam. Emperor Anthony. Thank you. Islam.
Gratitude, Empress. Peace.
Islam. Chief Justice Anthony, your mother is the Mahdi also.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
And I share my love and respect to all the matriarchs worldwide.
Yes.
That includes yourself and to all empresses here on this platform. My love and respect.
Gratitude.
Islam.
Yes, gratitude.
Emperor Tonus, we see you in the chat. Empress and Mahdi Minerva, we see you as well in the chat. Emperor Kansu, we see you there. Mahdi Rashida, we see you there as well. Islam. This is a monumental time for the matriarch. All we have to do is keep doing what we're doing. Everyone can see already. Chief Justice and Emperor Ogunwale, we see you in the chat as well. Islam. We affirm Islam. And to the Mahdis, the saviors for the whole earth, we say to you that we're just so grateful that the honor is returned to us all. The honor is returned to us all. The previous era had us doing some of the grimiest stuff ever. And listen, we're good at grimy too. Whatever we did and whatever we do, we're the best at it. And now we choose to be the best Mahdis at earth, both in heaven and at earth. Indiana Consulate, we see you there in the chat as well. Thank you.
Islam. So the question I had earlier concerning the public notice, that was my question about how do we put this on the record, public record. Was that the simple document we stated, the change of address?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Restated, all it's saying is we're home. And that's what we're going to be making. Those are the statements we will make repeatedly in different ways from now on, is we're home. We're home.
Islam, Empress. And who do we give this notice to, the change of address? Who you recommend that we give the notice to?
The three places that I am sending this notification to, and really it's going to be going out so regularly for me, with almost everything I send out over the next few months, it's going to go with it. But most importantly, to the Treasury, to the Internal Revenue System, and to the Central Solvency Office at Philadelphia, at the Internal Revenue Philadelphia. Islam. This is letting everyone know that federally we're on our own land, and anything but beneath that, states, counties, cities, whatever, the federal is the states and cities and counties are subject to the federal law. And then, if we will to do a state affidavit, address notification affidavit, we can do that as well, notifying the states. And again, we're the states originally anyway. All we're doing is letting everyone else know where they are, because we know where we are already. We're just letting them know that if you're at Washington, you're on the land. You're not lost at sea. The Mahdi has returned. If you're at New York and the Mahdi is at New York, then you're on the land. And all other jurisdictions, air, water, space, start with the land first. Because in order to even get up there, you got to be on the land first. No one just appears in space or out at sea, or you're on the land first where you're birthed, and then you go out to all the other places. Islam. And this also makes it, not makes it, but it is notification that anything that we do, any agreements that we make, anything like that, our courts reign with those agreements. Our courts, and listen, Morris, this is what I'm seeing with regard to agreements. As I'm going through and doing all the things that I'm doing with regard to quote unquote indemnification and insurance and anything, as I'm doing all of those things, all of those actions, I'm doing them by court action. Therefore, our courts are already ruling, so no conflict ever arises. No conflict ever arises because the courts we're actually governing it by court action, and it works like a charm. It works like a charm. So it keeps, all we do is issue our ruling, and then we stand on that ruling. We don't have to go back and forth. We don't have a whole lot to say. We just issue the ruling and then keep going. Keep doing other things going on about our way. It works like a charm. No matter what you're doing, it works. Islam. With that being stated,
are we going to get this recording in the email?
Yes, I can send it in the email. I'm pretty sure that's how we're going to be doing recordings going forth, period. I don't think anything is going to go back out on YouTube because we're getting into personal matters, and we're also getting into, actual possession things, which is going to make there's going to be some personal statements and things. And so we're not in the least bit worried about any of that. We're just going to do what we do. Fortunately, we were never in it for views and for any of that stuff. We're in it. We're doing what we're doing because that's what government does. So we'll just provide it by email, and then you all contribute that however you will, because you're the Congress. The law will come from you and from this Congress in that manner, because we're moving on to the 3D and the possession and things of that nature. And that stuff, a lot of that won't be televised and, out there. We're just going to go ahead and I would say quietly take the land, possess the land. Yeah. So with that being stated, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine Mahdis and our emperors, Islam.
Peace and grand rising.
Islam, peace and grand rising, more.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Peace and love.
Grand rising,
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Thank you, thank you.
Peace and love.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace and energy.
Islam.
Peace and energy.
Thank you, Islam.
And everybody else base to affirm.
Islam, indeed, nobility. Thank you.
Okay.
Islam.
Mahdi.
Islam, nobility.
How is we spelling that? I want to make sure the spelling is correct.
Mahdi.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Mahdi. Okay, cool. All right, thank you.
Like mother. Like mother. C.
Okay.
Islam.
Mahdi. Okay.
Islam.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Till we meet again.